wouldn't think that because they're smaller, right? The reason
going back to you coming out here and exactly why Washington as opposed to all the other places you could have chosen.
Great question, and we did look at that. There was a lot of different regions in the country that we considered. Everything from Jen's family's on the East Coast,
Right.
and there's some up and coming wine regions in Virginia.
Yep.
And even a little bit in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so there is, opportunities to kind of get into fairly young industries in those regions. And certainly New York's got a well-established reputation up in the Finger Lakes, and even now some out on Long Island.
Yeah.
And so she's from New Jersey originally, and her family lives in North Carolina now. So we looked out there and pretty extensively, and I was in the technology industry, so the Bay Area of California was always potentially an option as well. But what ended up happening was, I'll let you tell the story of, a bottle of Merlot.
Yeah, so when we were in Chicago, we were buying mostly Bordeaux's, getting, I like to say, progressively geekier about those wines and paying a lot of attention and to the wine that we were drinking. And one day, Tim came home with a bottle of Walla Walla Merlot. It was a Walla Walla Vintners bottle, and
that I bought from a wine shop in Chicago,
yeah,
having never heard of Walla Walla.
Sort of randomly. And we tasted it, and we were kind of blown away that it tasted like the Bordeaux's that we had just kind of fallen in love with. And by then,
but yet had clearly New World fruit. So it struck this great balance between kind of the structure and more earthiness that we had come to love from the Bordeaux wines, but yet didn't have any of that, kind of like, it wasn't like a dirty wine. It was super clean, nice fruit, but with a really strong earthy component to it as well that we just thought had a lot of character. And it just really was striking this balance between the old world wines and then the California, kind of West Coast wines that we had gotten to know, which we probably at the time, and I think there's obviously some, that has come back a lot to more reasonable levels, but for a while, a lot of the character of those wines was really overdone, and we didn't care for that style. And then here we had this wine that struck this really amazing balance between the two.
Yeah.
By then we knew that we wanted to make wine, and we were in the process of trying to figure out where, and all of a sudden Washington, became a very viable option. So we started and kind of turned our heads towards Washington, and over the course of the next couple of years, we really started to do a lot more research and pay a lot more attention, and then had the opportunity to move out here with his job, and so it seemed like a no-brainer.
And I think the other thing that's really attractive about Washington is that where we are in the life cycle of our industry, there aren't very many world-class wine regions that you can go to today as people of kind of normal means and be able to actually buy a vineyard and start a winery. I mean, you really can't do that in Napa, Sonoma.
No.
I mean, you've
and
got to
not
be
much of California, actually.
Right, yeah. You have to have already been, a big pile of money someplace, right? And we just felt like there's so many family-owned vineyards here, so many family-owned wineries here, and it was just an exciting time of growth, and we obviously still feel that way today, and Washington is just really on fire, we feel like, and it just was exciting to be a part of that and to be able to do that, kind of,
That's
even though we weren't millionaires.
High level,
Yeah, right.
The
I mean, and that's the
quality
thing.
of
It's
the-
the
and the
quality.
value is amazing.
Yeah, the quality of the wines here are truly world class, and so you're competing, on a stage that is absolutely world class without necessarily, having to have had several $1 million to get started.